Okay, last recording session, well, last episode for this recording session. Oh, this place is closed. You know, closed roof, I mean. Lots of samey looking courses in this game so far, I do have to say, but I guess that's also just kind of the fact of the matter when it comes to supercross and circuits. Similarly, I imagine. Hold on, those two rivals of mine are you serious? Those two rivals of mine were basically in second. Okay, yeah, you can't cut turns that hard. Okay, I need to learn that. It's tempting to cut those turns a lot harder than the game actually allows me to. Get on my way. Actually stay within the bounds of the course. You're gonna have to be mindful to do that. But yeah, as I was saying, my opponents were finishing like in second and third and so on, but they don't start in the back with me. So I get the impression the game just starts you in the back all the time. Some games do that. You just always get started in the back no matter what, just because that means you have to try to pass everyone and so on. Okay. I wonder how many people actually do specialize in like all of the vehicles in this game. I feel like that's a pretty large range of things. I mean, the buggy versus truck thing is really just endurance and weight class, as I understand it. I could see a person doing more than one because I feel like there's lots of overlap in the two. I feel like, yeah, being on a bike versus an ATV, and then also those versus being in a buggy slash truck, I feel like that's some pretty different stuff. I feel like some of the skills will not necessarily transfer. A person that's good at one would not necessarily be good at the other, or not necessarily want to be. That's just how this game kind of presents it. But this is not a scene that I keep up with in the real world. So perhaps these things are very connected up to the point of having people who participate in, who compete and eat in both. Or all three, more like how I just categorized it. And I don't know what I'm talking about. Felt satisfying. I wonder if they're kind of acting allergic to these walls and so on that you can kind of ride on. I don't know if riding up on those might help you not lose your grip and slide around a whole bunch. It's hard to say. But I feel like you have to take the turns kind of wide to do that. It also always takes a little bit longer to get my grip back than I expected to. Now, I know the Audio Slave songs I do know, which is a decent portion of their discography just by virtue of the fact they hardly made anything. I don't know if I ever heard this one before this game. So far, I'm not noticing ridiculous amounts of censoring the lyrics, which is amusing. Although, granted, I didn't always notice when stuff was censored back in Offroad Fury 3, so maybe I'm just not noticing it. But I mean, it's hard not to notice in some songs. Well, I say that, like that one, was it the Lost Prophet song, or another one? But the one that had stupid amounts of, the one by Borealis. Yeah, Might of the Sword. That one, Like, it's hard not to notice it. Well, I'd say it's hard not to notice everything being censored because, like, half of the lyrics are cut out. very awkwardly, but at the same time, that's actually a song I listen to outside of playing the game, so of course I notice it. And I had been listening to the song for like some years in between having last played the game and doing Let's Play of it. I'm very slow and careful there, AI. It's now controlling me. Alright. Decal. And dirt, surprising. And that's just how the stadiums are, I guess. Circuits mean dirt. I don't recognize the rmunge file extension. That, I never saw it in any of the other Climax games. But I haven't looked too close at the file contents of Climax games to begin with. I mostly just play around with the stuff that's in XML. Because that's just, you edit a little bit of text, and then the game does different stuff. Very fun. Lots of bang for your buck, so to speak. Okay. I think we're doing very well in this. Haha! That made them angry. It's a reasonable response. But yeah, in this tournament, I think we're doing fairly well. That's not an optimal way of taking that turn, though, I will admit. Yeah, I just keep cutting all the turns way harder than I should on the first try. I really shouldn't be doing that. I don't really try to hit all the pegs everywhere. I realize it probably slows me down somehow when I do, but it still happens anyways. Which button is it that I have to press to deliberately start sliding? Because these hairpin turns actually might be good to drift on a little bit deliberately. My turning radius just isn't good enough otherwise. Alright, see if I can catch up with these guys. I don't think this is a stat issue, it's more just me being a little silly on these turns. Yeah, I haven't really felt like I'm just outmatched in terms of numbers in any of the heavy races so far, to be perfectly honest. I think in cases where it feels like, okay, if I do have to, not mess up, if I mess up once, then everyone will catch up and so on. But otherwise, the good old classic, using your opponent to take a turn more aggressive than you could otherwise. It's always a nice way of getting an edge. Just use the fact that hitting them will help you make the turn more quickly. So you take a more aggressive racing line. It just lets you straight shot into the inside of the turn. If you knock them into the outside of the turn, maybe, depending on how heavy they are. And you get to just, lose speed in an appropriate and controlled fashion as you make the turn. And one of the nice things about it is the AI will basically never do that, so it's a trick that you can use against them. It benefits just you. It's a little trick you have in your pocket that they don't have in theirs. Yeah, I feel like I should be using the handbrake here, I just don't remember how to do it. Right there, I think the right thing to do was not to handbrake, but at some of those hairpins, I don't think you really have an option not to. Like here, I guess, if you hit it right, you can get away with not doing it. I did that just now, I think that was okay, but some of those turns, really think I need to turn a little bit sharper than I can without doing that. This one, So that wasn't that great. This next one, I don't really like that. I'm not using the handbrake on that. Oh well. I should look that up or something in the meantime, because It's not like the game's going to tutorialize me on again, I don't think, at any point. The loading screens in this game do not tell you random factoids anymore like they did back in the previous game, so I'm on my own. I feel like I don't know how the large this game's soundtrack is compared to its predecessor, but like I feel like I've already heard all of its soundtrack multiple times over, which is kind of disappointing, even though I like the music. It's that I'm using really edgy 2000s stuff. I wouldn't consider myself nostalgic for the era or anything like that personally, even though I am fully aware it's well into the nostalgia cycle at this point. But music of the 2000s does tend to amuse me just in the sense that it's very... the angst of it is very amusing to me. In the way that it's kind of funny and so on. Do have a lot of money on hand now, that is good. But that's only enough to buy like one good vehicle in one class of our choice, so... Helmets. And they do not give me helmets, however. I feel like they... okay, cool. They could have just given me a helmet. It would have made sense. Man, if only I managed to develop muscle memory using the handbrake through a tutorial that told me how to use the handbrake and presented me with turns that was actually appropriate to use the handbrake on. But they did not. They gave me turns that were way more efficient to not use the handbrake on. Okay, so we've got... it's weird. I figured Rallycross would be the heavy vehicle analog to Supercross, but it's not. Circuit is. We've got Nationals, and of course we've got Supercross still to do. Okay, got some stuff to do. I'm curious how much more stuff there is in story mode though, just because, okay, here's all the amateur stuff. Then there's pro. Is there something after pro? Maybe, I don't know. But cool, we got 3 trophies. Got a little bit more to do. Let's look at this. Trophy textures loading off the cuff there, very good. We'll probably still look at Classic at some point. Forgive me for this, but I can do buggy or truck. Kind of amusing. But let me just see. Let me just take a look at the tutorial for doing the handbrake again, since I don't really have enough time to do anything else this episode otherwise anyways. Okay. Clutch turn as they call it here. It is R1. I didn't really notice the difference using R1, but okay. Oh, they do actually use specific vehicles for this. Okay. So you can't just get better vehicles to do everything. I mean, at this point, there's not really a point of me trying to go for a good time or anything. Just doing it kind of for fun. Perhaps it would be better to use a certain vehicle for each of these two. Ah. Yeah, I found this way easier to do with the truck than the buggy. Huh. Maybe I used the wrong vehicle last time. The slalom sounds a lot easier than buggy than a truck. Okay. I do wonder if we'll start seeing other events like grabbing all the targets, which in the past was called freestyle, but I guess isn't now, or slalom in the later events in the story, or maybe that's in Classic, I don't know. At some point or another. I need to load the track editor at some point. Yeah, I mean, that's gotta be a thing to make sure I load as well, right? I already looked at the options for it in the past, didn't I guess. So I'm curious if that's going to load anything new in the, with regard to hashing things. I will have already gotten those anyways. Okay, so next time, I guess we'll just continue on, continuing on. But I think for now what I'll do in the story is I will do each type of event and get gold in that. I don't know if I'll do each type of event with each type of vehicle though, because that'd be doubling everything up. It's also kind of tempting to do national light again, although I say that, but I need to get a better bike first, obviously, to try to actually compete with everyone else. Alright, I believe that's the last episode to record today, right? Yes it is. Alright, I'll see you then, and we'll continue accumulating hashes while also just doing whatever we do in this game. I could swear at some point, yeah, see right there, you see ATVs and bikes, and right here I think that those are trucks and buggies, I think, in the same race. So yeah, maybe that's the thing that happens once you get to pro or something, it stops being segregated by vehicle type or something? I'm curious. Curious what will become of that. And maybe that means we don't have the doubling up of all the events. That'd be kind of nice. Alright. Ah, man, at the same time, I feel like if I want to make sure I load everything, I probably also should, I probably should try to 100% things in the sense of, like, getting all the trophies and whatnot, too. Which means I also, for that reason, probably should actually get all the golds using all the different vehicle types. We'll see where we go. Alright, everyone, I also do want to just, like, I haven't never done that trick. How do you do that trick? I also do want to progress in the story at some point too. We can go back and do more stuff later if we want. It'll also probably become easier if we have better stats and more money and so on to fund it with, right? We'll see. Bye everyone.